Well, welcome everybody to the January meeting of Ask the Experts. Anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. And welcome, Lori. I don't think I've seen you before.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I learned about this from some of the guys that joined me for Scott Kelby's worldwide walk that I led in October in downtown Tucson. And I haven't been able to come yet, but I'm a software engineer, been doing that for 35 years, but of course it's not on Mac and Apple stuff, it's on Windows stuff. So I thought I would give a holler to you guys. And I actually do have a question for you today because I watched the videos. Well, at least I watched the video from last month where it was the question and answer period. And I thought, I don't have any questions. And then I realized, yes, I do. So I got a mini HomePod as a gift in December. And the thing drives me absolutely nuts because half the time it won't work with anything. And then if I say, and of course, I'm probably going to trigger it by doing this. If I say, excuse me, so I'm in another room. And if I say into my phone or into my iPad, which is what I'm on now, I say, hey, Siri, blah, blah, blah. It'll answer me in the kitchen on the HomePod. But I don't want it to answer me there because I can't hear it there. I'm sitting here. So any ideas on how I can? And the reason is that I believe is because the last time I had a podcast or whatever going, it was on that particular speaker.
Well, first off, do you know how to edit your settings for your iPod, for your HomePod?
Yeah.
In the Home app?
Yeah.
So you could just tell it to, let me pull up the Home app real quick. I have a couple of HomePods in here. Give me a second.
I'll do that at the same time as you're doing it.
HomePod, where are you? They're great for HomeKit. Boy, now I can't find my HomePod. I got way too many things here. Bob, don't laugh. I topped 200.
Applications in your
no
in your
devices. No devices
okay.
home in the Home app.
200 devices?
Every light switch, every outlet is in my house. The pool, you name it, is in HomeKit. My alarm system, every sensor, thermostat. Let me see here.
I think I just figured it out because it underneath the HomePod under Home, it says listen for Siri or Hey Siri, and I just turned that off. So if I say Hey Siri, it's not going to talk to me on that machine anymore. Cool.
Lori,
yeah, there's also a sensitivity setting somewhere in here.
Lori, the politically correct way to get her to listen to you is saying, hey, S lady, and that, or pardon me, what I mean, the politically correct way to say that when you're in a meeting with a bunch of other people is say, hey, S lady, instead of her real name, because you could set off all kinds of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't, there used to be a setting in here because I had the same problem because I even my thermostat even has Siri enabled in it. And when you're in one room because of all the devices I have, you never know what's going to listen.
Yeah.
And when it listens, if it's too far away, it doesn't listen properly. So there was a setting, and I don't see it now, where I think it was a priority setting or something in there, and Apple may have changed it in the new HomeKit stuff.
Well, that's all fixed. And then for the longest time, I couldn't get it to work with my iPad, but I think I figured that out. All of a sudden it decided, yes, I will talk on my iPad. And I was like, this is annoying. Who gave me this damn thing? I didn't really need it.
Well, I bought mine only because I have a dog and we take him out and I have a scene set up for the outside to turn the lights on at night. And I got tired of walking all the way in the bedroom to go pick up my phone to say, "Hey, S lady, do something," because it wouldn't hear me when I was in the kitchen. So I bought a HomePod just for that purpose.
That's funny. Well, thanks for answering my question. I appreciate it.
And
And-
feel free to hang around.
And
Oh, I'm
thank you.
planning on it.
And thank you for joining us, Lori. I was there at that photo walk, so was Roger, and so was Kurt, and he'll be along shortly.
Yeah, and I
So,
think Bob, you were the one that told me about TMUG and gave me the
yeah,
info.
I'm always pushing that, trying to get new converts. And now Jeff has joined us. Now, are there any other questions?
Yes,
Go ahead, Jerry.
I have what's the word? The problem that everybody has all the time, I guess, and that is spam email. So I have a couple of questions. If I block contacts, does that help me in any way? Does it make these things show up in trash rather than in my inbox anymore?
What you want to do is look at an application called SpamSieve by a
Okay,
company
I'm
called
using
C
that,
Command.
by the way. I should have said that.
But well, if you have SpamSieve and you have it set up properly, it just takes about a month to train the emails as to what's spam. You actually have to tell it what's good and what's not good. And
Well,
once you
see,
do
this is
that,
what I've been doing. Everything I find in my inbox, it's not supposed to be there. I mark it and block the contact. Interestingly, some will not block or they don't show the
what do you
icon
mean?
that it's
What
been
do you mean
blocked.
by block the contact?
If I go to an email in my mail program and I open it or not, if I do a right click on that on the sidebar, I get a window comes up, and about three-fourths of the way down that window is a choice to say block contact.
Okay, that's not how you use SpamSieve though. The way
Uh,
you use
I
SpamSieve
thought
is
I thought it had SpamSieve set up too, and they just updated it. Got a brand new version of it now.
right. But what you
That may
need to
be
do
changing
is
things a little. Okay, so
you have
what
to
do I
highlight
need
the
to do with
message.
SpamSieve?
Yeah, highlight the message in your mail application. Then under the messages menu, you train as good or train as spam.
Okay, so I'm doing both. I'm blocking them and training them as spam.
I'm not sure what blocking does. That's more on Apple's end. But if you're doing both, one may be interfering with the other. Because
Hmm.
I've been using SpamSieve for ages,
And you don't block
and
anything.
I don't block anything. I get about 500 spams a day that go into spam, and I might see 3 or 4 in my regular inbox that I have to train as spam.
Well, see, that's part of the problem. Before they did this SpamSieve update, I was seeing kind of that same thing. I don't get anywhere near that much spam, but probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40, 50, 60 every day. Most of them are in the trash or they're in the junk box.
Okay,
And a few stragglers.
did you set up the rules for SpamSieve properly? It needs to be
That's
the
well,
first
see, and
rule.
that's what I'm saying. Since I got this new version of spam, maybe I need to go back and look at that.
Yes.
I haven't done it.
Also look at your rules, make sure that the SpamSieve rule is the top rule.
Okay.
So if you have stuff that blocks it and it's above SpamSieve,
I
that's going to override SpamSieve.
my recollection is that I had it above unless something else has happened. Any idea why some of these things would not show the icon when you block them?
Let me look and see what block does.
See,
Yeah, I don't have anything that says block email on mine. I just right clicked on an email. I've send again. Oh, that's in a send. No. Yeah, that's in my box. Open, send again, reply all, forward. Photos attachment, redirect, remind me, mark as unread, move to inbox, mute, delete. Or I could flag it, archive it, or move it to, or apply a rule.
and that's in an Apple window?
That's an Apple Mail.
Hmm. So how did you get to that one again?
I right clicked on an email message.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that says block.
Okay, so I've just have opened Apple Mail. Go to my main mailbox. And if I click on one of those messages without opening it, I get open, send again, reply, down there just about, like I said, about 2/3 of the, or 3/4 of the way down says block contact.
Okay, you may have a third-party app that has your contacts. Are you using busy contacts or?
Oh, I'm mostly just Apple.
Yeah,
I rarely use other third party, except that I got a review and a recommendation to use SpamSieve, probably from this group here.
yeah, I've been using
You know,
SpamSieve
those kinds of
since,
things I go for, but yeah.
yeah, I don't see anything here that says block
I'll be darned.
on mine, so it has to be,
Okay, so I'm gonna go back and go through SpamSieve then and make sure that I've got it squared away before
okay.
I get crazy.
And you could always email me if it's, between meetings.
Oh, I know. I see your messages, and many of them have helped me just to see, just to look at them. You know,
Okay,
but yeah, that's probably my big pain in the butt is those darn spam emails.
Kevin, Gerald,
Dave?
I just checked mine and I don't use SpamSieve, I just use Apple's. Uh, where they're not in my contacts list. They're automatically marked as junk. And then if I right click on the mail, not the letter itself, but the mail in the left column, I get the option of blocking them. But sometimes some of these things, junk mail I get, I have the same problem. It doesn't show up until it goes into the trash, and then I'll see it in the trash, and I go, "Oh, there's the circle with the red line through it."
Yeah.
On occasion, I've had some of these that they didn't even do that, so they're doing something sneaky behind it to get around whatever Apple's system is. But so I have something similar to use, but I don't use SpamSieve, and I don't get that much junk mail anymore. But I can manage it that way. So what you're seeing, I'm also seeing in Apple
So it
Mail.
is there. I'm not cross-eyed or something. Okay.
well,
No.
one of the things is they tell you in SpamSieve that you have to disable junk mail filtering in the mail app, otherwise SpamSieve will not work.
See, that
So
makes sense.
it could be that you have junk mail filtering or block mail filtering turned on. And if you have that turned on, then SpamSieve is not going to work.
Now, and that's in the mail settings, right?
Yeah, go to mail settings, click on junk mail.
And it
And
says enable junk mail filtering.
right, that should be off. And then clicked on the right-hand side, it should say block. And enable block mail filtering needs to be turned off as well.
Aha. So that I should choose blocked.
No, you want both of those turned off if you're using SpamSieve.
Well, it looks to me like I've got both of them whether I want them or not.
Well, then
Click
you
one, the
could,
other one comes on, and you click the other one, the other one comes on, goes off.
yeah, well, if you turn off enable junk mail filtering and turn off enable block mail filtering, then set up SpamSieve and it should work properly.
How about when junk mail arrives, mark the junk mail, but leave it in the, mark the mail junk?
That, it doesn't matter where that is set because if it's disabled, it doesn't filter the mail using those rules.
Okay, so, and then the next one says move it into the junk mailbox. And as
Right,
I say, some of it gets put there, but not all of it.
yeah, as I
And the
said,
reason I started doing the block contact thing was it seemed like the email with the same headers and everything was coming over and over and over again. My thought was that maybe this guy was using a computer to generate email addresses or something, you know.
well,
And his
they
email
do,
address,
but
like
they also
he didn't
spoof.
have an email address that he'd sent something to me before. Because he was making new email addresses for himself.
Yeah, well, when they send spam out, a lot of those email addresses are spoofed email addresses. So they could come from 1,000 different email addresses. So blocking them is kind of a whack-a-mole type of thing where using
Well, I kind
SpamSieve,
of thought that
it
too.
looks at the content of the email, how they're configured. It looks at spelling, it looks at content, how things are worded in the subject, and it does a really good job. But again, you have to have all the other things turned off in order for it to do its job. And it
Well,
sounds
as I
like you
say,
had the two
I'll have to
fighting
go
each
back
other.
and relook at SpamSieve because I think they did change some things in there and I don't remember that I changed anything at that point in time. So maybe I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball here.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Next question.
I had one.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, Kevin and I, we were working on making a backup using disk utility.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I got down to the very end of that process. And I got a little nervous about, because it was said it was going to put it on a disk, but I didn't know, is it going to show my mounted disk that I want to put it on, or is it only going to show me the Macintosh disk?
Well, when you,
I didn't want to like it put something back on the Macintosh, HD Macintosh that doesn't, rather than the disk I want to put it on.
well, it depends on what you're selecting when you use disk utility. Disk utility is not what I would use to do backups.
Okay, what would you use?
I would use Carbon Copy Cloner.
Yeah, I tried to, but there was
Right, but you have you have an Apple Silicon, and one of the things about an Apple Silicon is that boot drives have to be installed on that machine.
right.
So you need to start up, holding down the option, options, go to recovery, install your operating system. Once you install your operating system, then you use Carbon Copy Cloner, and it copies the rest of the files over.
So you put it on the disk I want to go on, but then only after I've put the operating system on can I download the rest.
Right. And when you create the operating system, it'll create all the proper partitions and all the proper volumes. Don't forget, you have 2 partitions on an external drive. And in one of the partitions, which is APFS, there are 5, I believe 5 or 6 different volumes that have to be there. And the
Okay.
operating system installer will set those up for you. And then when you run Carbon Copy Cloner, you just drag your internal drive as the source, the external as the destination.
Yeah, that's what I
When-
tried doing
when
without
you-
doing the other.
Right. And after you select start, it'll just copy the dash data partition.
Okay.
It'll leave everything else alone and it'll be authorized to boot your machine.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So that's a better way to do it than using disk utility.
yeah, it's a lot. One of the things to note though is we used to use bootable backups because if something happened to your computer, you could
Right,
use your bootable backup on another computer.
exactly.
Can't do that with M series
Hmm. But
because,
I could use it to reboot my existing computer.
right, you could use it to reboot your existing.
Or I could choose among that and when I'm looking at startup disk, I could choose either one.
Right.
Okay, I'll go back to that methodology instead of trying to do it with disk utility then.
Now, you used reference to copy cloner. How about super duper? Does that fall into the?
I
area?
haven't used it in ages, so I really don't know how it works with the M series.
Okay. Well, the developer thinks it does, but I haven't been able to produce one that'll reboot. But as you say, if you've got and I assume that my computer, because I've upgraded it a couple or updated the software a couple of times, that it's on the
Probably having the same,
it's on the home drive rather than.
probably need to follow the same methodology Kevin described for me to use copy cloner. You gotta download
Yeah. And also another thing is, Ridge, I see you. After you do the initial backup, whenever you do a software update, you should boot from your backup and do the software update on that drive as well.
oh yeah, okay.
Because the backup doesn't move the system partitions.
Right. Okay.
Good
So they're
point.
making things more complicated for us, yeah.
Ridge?
In November, I used Super Duper 3.8 to back up my Mac Studio with an M2 Ultra chip in it. And it did fine to the external solid state drive.
Were you able to boot from it?
I've tested it worked fine.
Okay.
Well, I have an M1, so maybe that's the difference. I don't know.
How do you install the operating system on your backup drive?
You hold down the power button on an Apple Silicon, you hold down the power button until you get to the options screen. Select options and then recovery partition. And you also have to set the security settings in there to allow to boot from an external drive.
And that's under the security settings in system pref?
No, that's under the options and when you hold down the power button for 10
Oh,
seconds,
okay.
when you first start up, it'll take, like when you start up your computer, it'll say continue holding power button for options.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You continue holding it till you get to the option screen.
Okay.
And in there are your security settings and stuff like that.
See, I've done that several times, and so I was trying to remember, did I see that or not? But I'm an old guy. I can't remember what I had for dinner sometimes, so maybe that's why.
That's me.
I think that's everybody here.
Speak for yourself, not for me.
So I have a question about Google Workspace. And I got into this a while ago because it looked like it was going to give me access to Google tech support if I ever needed it. And they've raised the prices a couple of times, and I wasn't able to get into the billing console to find it. Has anybody seen what the price is going up to? Because I don't really even use it. I'm just really using it for, for access to tech support and sort of out of guilt for not paying for YouTube. But
What is this again, please?
it's called Google Workspace.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've used that.
What does it have in there?
Well, it's not clear to me, to be honest with you. I've been trying to find out some of this stuff, and it's Google's usual opacity. They send you to 8 different places, and none of them really tell you enough to figure out what's going on. I don't have any real strong fuzzy feelings about Google at all on this stuff. I have PC friends that just think it's great, but then again, when their stuff breaks, They have to call Geek Squad. So, but I don't know, I'm just curious. Nobody's used it before and knows what it is.
Nope.
I did pay for some extra storage on one of my Gmail accounts because I had used it for 20 years out in California as my personal email against my work email. And so there's a lot of stuff that sort of overflowed into that account. And I want to sort of, it's huge. You know, so they charge me like $1.99 a month for storage.
That's
So
not
I
bad.
probably should do something about that and take all those emails and download them somewhere.
So
But,
Chris,
yeah,
so I do have access to Google Workspace, but unfortunately I can't see the prices because I'm on a nonprofit workspace.
probably be different anyway, Tony.
No, it's actually they provide the full workspace stuff. It's the same as the business one.
But the prices are probably different. Yeah. Well, anyway, if you find anything out, Tony, you can let me know. That'd be super.
Okay, I'll check and see.
No rush. But I'm just curious because I'm trying to find out from Google, and it's like, oh, well, it's not a business workspace. Click, you know, and Google it's almost worse than not having their tech support at all because it's insulting the way it cuts you off all the time. But anyway, I digress.
Well, Chris, I just Googled it. And it says after January of 24, business starter goes up from $6 to $7.20. Or if you go on an annual plan, it's $6 a month. Business standard goes from 12 to 14.40 or stays at 12 for an annual plan. Or business plus goes from 18 to 21.60. Unless you have an annual plan, then it stays at 18. So
I think they might be trying to manage one of my domains too, and when you have a domain in there, I don't know if that means that they renew the domain or if they're just using that domain. And I'm not using it anyway. I mean, I'm just using mail. So it's sort of, in fact, I think I'll just close all those accounts and just use my Apple accounts. But cool.
yeah, I tried moving my domain over to Apple and I did not like it.
Really? Can you say more?
Yeah, well, it wasn't difficult to move it over, but what happens is it's in a single inbox.
Oh,
So I like having for years I've used a company called Zoho, which does CRM management. And I signed up ages ago where I haven't had to pay for it. And they give me up to 3 email addresses on my domain for free. So I have a separate mailbox for that. When you switch over to Apple, it goes into your main mailbox.
they don't have different inboxes under the big
Nope.
inbox?
That's what I thought they would do.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good.
And it's the same inbox, same sent mail, same everything. So I took it off of Apple and I moved it back to Zoho.
Interesting. That's really good to know. I mean, the whole point of a separate domain, like for a work account or something, or a project account, is you look through it, you zip through it separately.
Right.
You know, and see if there's anything in there and manage it separately. It's fine to look at them all together if that's what you want to do, but a lot of times you don't. Otherwise you wouldn't have the separate account.
Yep. And matter of fact, I only keep my domain on one computer. All my other computers and all my other devices only have my Apple address. So
how about the extended security stuff that Apple has been promoting in the OS? Let me see if I can find this stuff. You guys probably remember it faster than I do, but it's they had something to do with mail.
they have to do with, well, I could find it. I could show you. Okay. In the mail settings under security, is it composing or viewing? Nope. Under privacy, the protect mail activity, hide IP address and block all remote content.
When this first came out, I tried some of these things and it got really funky. Like I
Yeah,
tried
they
to
still
order
are.
something from Amazon and I thought I was in Finland. And I thought, oh, that's it. Boom, turned it off and I haven't come back.
When
And
you hide your IP address, they don't know where you're located. So things like Fry's Food won't work or Safeway won't work because they don't know where you are.
They don't know where I am anyway.
Yeah. Also, when you get
that's a
emails that
different
have
problem.
images in them, like say, for example, you get an
Okay.
email from Amazon that shows this is what you ordered, you get a square because it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
allow that content. And I had so many problems. I recommend everybody turn that off.
You know, Kevin, I use it all the time, but what I do is the various accounts like Amazon, when I'm on that website, you can go ahead and, you know, settings for that website, and you can turn off the hide the IP. You can turn off, block all things.
Well, this is in Mail right now. In Safari, it's slightly different. So let me pull up Safari settings.
Well, I even have, you know, in the mail, when I buy something from Amazon, I get the pictures, I don't get empty.
Right. Because the hide IP address in the Safari is only for hiding it from trackers.
Yeah,
Okay. Where in Mail, it hides it from mail. So when you get an email from Amazon, it has an image in it. That
Yep.
image is being served by a server that says, hey, this is the person that I'm sending the email to. And if in the mail program, when you have those on, it's blocking those images from coming through. On Safari, it's totally different. The only thing that I recommend people turn off on Safari is
Hello?
cross-site tracking.
Yeah, she may be in the shower right now, but let me just check. Have you sent over a prescription yet?
Okay. Anyway, Dave, I recommend turning off cross-site tracking. And the reason for that is if you go to a domain that has, let's just say 9to5Mac, for example, and they have a video in there in one of their articles, but that video is hosted on YouTube. If you have prevent cross-site tracking on, those videos won't load or play properly.
yeah, I haven't had that kind of problems. And I was just looking at my mail, and I do have hide my IP address, but I still get pictures in that, like from Amazon when I order something. So it works on my machine.
So you turn off the prevent cross-site tracking, and how about the IP address from trackers and websites?
I have that on. Another thing that's real
Trackers
important.
only? Or
Yeah,
trackers
hide
and
IP from
website?
trackers on. And another thing to turn off is if you go under the website tab,
Right.
scroll down to where it says notifications.
Oh, wow, there's a bunch in there.
You
Okay,
want to uncheck that.
the whole thing.
You want to delete everything that's in there and uncheck allow websites to ask permission to send notifications.
Well, can you just uncheck it at the bottom of the page to turn it off, or do you have to remove them all?
You just Command A and then remove.
Really?
So where am I gonna find these again?
In Safari preferences
Safari
or
settings.
settings under websites, then notifications.
Unfortunately, I've got to
No, I'm
remove
not
them
seeing
one at a time.
notification under website.
You should be able to highlight all of them, Chris. You might want to try one, hold the shift key down and on the bottom.
Nope.
Okay.
Why,
No,
why-
I'm not seeing anything about notifications under websites.
Look on the left.
Oh, here, wait. I found it. Told you I'm an old guy.
why do we not want to do this, Kevin?
The reason you don't want to do this is I've had several clients have contacted me and said, my computer has a virus. Website will send an alert to your computer and it looks just like an Apple alert.
Oh my.
And it'll say, you have a virus on your computer. Click here to run antivirus. And it'll take you to a site that'll sell you Norton or Total AV, and it'll be one of those scam sites.
That's when I restart my computer. I hadn't seen one of those for a long, long time.
I get calls weekly about that.
Really? I used to see them quite a bit, but and like I say, when I did, I just would close my computer down.
Yeah.
And when it restarted, then I'd go back and make sure I got things deleted or turned off or whatever.
I'm having
Yeah.
problems trying to find that thing to turn off. You said the Safari preferences and then what?
Go to websites up on top
Right in the
Okay,
middle.
in the middle, and then on the left, scroll down to notifications.
okay.
See, and I've got a globe that says deny, and then I've got a newsexpressadobe.com that I have deny. I have the Naples user group, I've got allow. And system
Right.
I have allow.
You may have allowed some, but there are some websites that you'll go to and they don't prompt you. They just inject the allow in there, and then they will start giving you pop-ups. And as I said, the pop-ups look just like an Apple pop-up.
And those are still coming, huh? Because like I said, I haven't seen one of those for a long, long time.
I got a call on Friday. Somebody told me they have a virus on their Mac and wanted me to come out, and it's like, nope, you don't have a virus. Let me walk you through how to turn this off.
So was he going to a common website, or was he going,
Who knows?
When that's part of the problem, see, because I don't do much just looking around. I go to websites that I know and that I want to use.
Yeah, a lot of people surf the web, or they'll click on a link in an email. You just never know.
Not something I do.
I had one last week too myself.
Now, the only one I have that's marked allow is chatsupport.apple.com. Don't you want to allow that one?
Well, chat support, Apple will not use notifications within Safari.
Okay,
They have their own software that tie
Alright.
into the operating system.
thank you.
And make sure you uncheck the allow websites to ask for permissions on the bottom.
Uncheck that. Okay.
Well, I'm still using DuckDuckGo for my browser because I like the Duck Player for YouTube because it cancels the ads.
I use AdGuard on my computer. It does a wonderful job killing ads.
So we just don't want ad websites asking us even, huh?
Right.
Sounds good to me.
And the ones that, like, if you go to 9 to 5 Mac and on the bottom it asks you to do it and you say okay, it doesn't add it.
So I've run into something else since we've been sitting here talking. I turned on the chat window and I got this thing about being a guest. How do I become a real member and I don't have to? And
On the top right, you see there'll be a button that says sign in.
And where do I see that?
Above the last person on the right of your screen, if it's in gallery mode, up on the very top.
And you don't have to worry about it, Jerry, because everybody's a guest except Roger, who's the host.
Okay, so that's not a problem then.
Not a problem. It doesn't mean that you're not a TMUG member.
What I was worried about, it says guess
Because
what,
you're going to
you
win
can
that door
post and
prize,
see
right?
messages only during the meeting.
So that's because you're going to win that door prize, right, Jerry?
Well, right. No, listen, I have a story about laser printers too. I attend also the Silicon Valley users group that was on like last night. Interesting show too. They had a blind guy on there. He'd been blind since he was a baby, and he was showing us how he uses a computer. But anyway, this lady that's a member of that group put an email out on the IO site about a laser printer she had that she wanted to get rid of, and she'd give it to the first guy that asked for it. So I asked for it, and I love it.
Cool.
But it's got some problems because it's a little bit old. It's only 5 or 6 years old. But I don't have any way to. I don't have drivers and stuff to control. I think maybe the thickness of the paper. I'd like to use some thicker paper sometimes. Is there a way to print envelopes or something? I'd love to be able to do that, because one of the things I don't like about my inkjet printer is that the ink on there, you touch it with a little bit of water and it smears like crazy. So I have to cover everything with a piece of tape.
What type of a printer is the laser?
It's a Samsung. I was trying to.
Not familiar with those.
Those kinds of settings should be in the print dialog box under printer.
But the thing is that Samsung's not supporting it anymore. I think that may be one reason this lady was getting rid of it. I'm not
That
sure.
might be.
No,
Um,
HP is doing all the Samsung support now.
Oh,
He
good.
also
Yeah,
like
and
imprint.
so the only drivers are from HP. My son works for Samsung. I still can't get any good drivers.
Speaking of printing, I'd like to follow up on my question of last month because I found an answer to it. My question was, it used to be that I was able to go, I want to print something. Actually, I want to turn it into a PDF. I go Command P to get to the print dialog box and Command P again, and it turns it into a PDF without going and clicking on the little thing and says PDF and save as PDF. I asked my question in the Discord for the Mac Geek Gab, and I had the answer in about 15 minutes. And it's very easy to do. I think I'd like to show it if I can. I want to do, okay. No. Board shortcuts.
While you're looking, I have a printer question I just recalled.
Go ahead.
On a Brother printer, a Brother laser printer, my friend was getting no paper notifications when there was paper. And so she bought a new Brother printer, and the brand new Brother printer is giving her the same notification.
What kind of paper is she using?
He's using 20-pound paper.
That's usually a bad sensor, isn't it, for the paper?
Yeah, but I wouldn't see going across two printers to have the same issue.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Brand new
That's
one
kinda
is
weird.
having the same problem as one that's like 4 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. Gerald, do you know how to get into the settings page for your printer?
For the printer itself or the driver?
The printer itself.
No, I guess I
okay.
don't.
How is your printer connected to your computer? Is it on your network?
Every way I can think of. I tried to connect through Ethernet. I'm not sure that that's happened. So it's basically the USB connection.
Well, if it's on Ethernet and the printer has an IP address, you could plug in the IP address in your web browser,
Okay, gotcha.
then hit :631.
And what's that going to do?
That'll open up the printer settings page.
But I'd go to it on my browser. See,
You
this is
do it on
something
your
I've
web
done in the
browser
past
and you
with
may
other
be able to
printers.
change your paper settings that way.
But how would I determine whether, if I just unhook the USB, I should know whether I have a internet connection or not?
If you go to the App Store, there's an app called LAN Scan, LANSCAN. And that'll scan everything on your network, and you just look for the Samsung printer.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I figured it out. Good thing I wrote it down. I'm going to try and share my system preference, system settings. Are you seeing my system settings? Looks like you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go to system settings or preferences, depending on your version. Keyboard shortcuts. Here's keyboard shortcuts. Click on there. App shortcuts, you click down here. And under all applications, you set this up. Save as
Oh.
PDF, which can you see what I'm
Yeah,
I've got
you've done
here?
it. You've done it twice. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, that's not twice. Not twice. You notice they're different
Oh,
because some versions of the OS have save for PDF ellipsis, and some just have save for PDF.
okay.
And mine has the ellipsis at the end. And so you create the shortcut here and you're done. So now if I were to print something, I don't know if I can I print this? No, I guess I can't print that. I get up the print dialog box with a Command P and then just another Command P, and it starts to save it as a PDF.
Interesting.
And I find that very, very helpful.
I can see it's very useful.
I also
It
want
works.
to,
It works, it helps.
because I save a lot of stuff as PDF because I'm trying not to print stuff like bills or credit card statements or utility bills. I create a PDF and I save them in a folder for posterity. So that worked out well for me. I want to welcome everybody who's here with us now, including area code 520-661, which I think is our member Helen Wheels. Helen, welcome. If you can say hello, but otherwise I'm just going to believe that that's you. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Helen.
Whoever's
Thank
at
you for-
whoever's at 520.
Well, Helen is a former member and she's now a member again. And Helen is deaf.
Hey, I don't think it's Helen. I think it's me, Mark Yarnish. 6613122. That's me.
It
Oh,
is
okay.
Mark. No, I cross-referenced the phone number and it's not Helen.
Okay.
Sorry.
Why are you on the phone, Mark? You can't. Are you on I-10 speeding one way or the other?
I had to go pick up my grandkids and I wasn't available. I had to drive across town and just walked in the door.
Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to change the name in my attendance list to you, Mark.
Okay.
From Helen.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Yesterday I got a Tidbits article, and they were talking about whether you had updated the firmware on your Magic Keyboard. There was a big discussion last night in the Silicon Valley group, but nobody had a real idea about how to make sure this happens. It was just kind of, if you read Apple stuff, it just kind of seems like it's just going to happen out of thin air, and you just have to wait. And when it's your turn,
Yep.
you get it. Kind of like dying, you know.
It supposedly happens when you pair the item with macOS or iOS. It supposedly happens at that point.
Whenever it reconnects, it's supposed to happen.
Well, I was gonna look, because I looked at mine this morning. It looked like it had moved from 1.4 up to 1.6 or something.
And where do you see that, Jerry? In the
Go to your
system?
system preferences. Go to Bluetooth, and you'll see Magic Keyboard there. Click the I to the right of the where it says Magic Keyboard.
Oh,
And
okay.
mine still says 1.4.8. That's why it's been for 2 days now.
Mine says 206.
Yeah,
And
206.
so you're updated then.
How
Well,
old is your keyboard, Jerry?
Well, I think I got my keyboard maybe less than a year ago because my old one just kind of died and I had to go get something. I've got one with a finger ID or with, the fingerprint thing, and I love it. When it works, it's really great.
so
Yeah,
maybe
I
what
have
you
the
want to
ones that
do is
use. Go ahead,
use
Bob.
the button that says disconnect, but don't do that now. And then reconnect it later.
So what if I disconnect?
Well,
I
then your
just won't be able
keyboard's
to
going to
use my
stop working
keyboard. That's all right.
until you turn it off, turn it back on again, and it'll reconnect, and maybe that'll get it updated. But don't do it
Well,
now.
I tried that trick. I even left it on last night. I usually turn my computer off at nighttime.
Okay,
Can I ask a quick question about a brother printer?
Go ahead.
sure.
My sister lives in St. Louis area. She, all of a sudden, they lost the Wi-Fi connection. It doesn't work. So she's had the Geek Squad out twice and they can't figure it out either. Anybody know why you would drop connection where you had it for a year or
Ha-
more and all of a sudden it won't connect via Wi-Fi?
Two things
Problem.
two things to try. Number one, go to Brother and download the firmware update tool. It's called BR Main.
Okay,
Make sure that she does the latest firmware. And if that doesn't work on the screen, have it reset network settings. After you reset the network settings, then have it rejoin her network and it should stay.
okay. So first you update the firmware and then what was the
If that doesn't work,
yeah,
in other words, when you update the firmware, it'll restart the printer.
yeah,
If Wi-Fi is set up, it should automatically connect.
okay,
If it doesn't connect, then go into this using the screen, go to network to reset network,
okay.
and then have her install the software again.
Okay. Okay, we'll go through that. I should have the Geek Squad, they should know all this stuff. They're coming out again next week to try to help her.
Is she on a Mac or Windows?
Windows. Yeah.
Yeah, they should know. I think it's time for us to take our little break before the main meeting. And Roger's nodding his head. He nods head.